So today's Punk Rock Sunday is a little bit different, a special feature, if you will. Probably two things to take out of this video are how much music can still mean to you 40 years after when you first heard it. You know, when you take things in when you're 13, 14 years old, just how they stick with you. And secondly, how the craziest things can happen, you know. If you're in it for the long run, strange things can happen, things that you would never ever have thought would happen. So I hope you enjoy the presentation. Hi there folks, welcome to Dunzee's Guitar World. Today I'm in Paisley on a Saturday and joining me today are lots of girls, but more importantly,
some guy back here, I think. I'm Henry from, Stiff Little Fingers and X-SLF, and we're playing at the Bungalow.
Who would have thought? Henry Clooney. I was just saying to my wife earlier, I said, I'll try and get Henry in the shot. If I had to make up a list, like
of the worst guitar players.
In 1980, like when I started playing, it was like a list of the top 10 things I never thought would happen. One of those top 10 things would be on stage with Henry Clooney, playing Stiff Little Fingers songs.
And you're going to play two tonight. You're going to do At the Edge and Barbed Wire Love. And
the good news is Henry's giving me a guitar lesson after it, so I can play them properly.
Did I tell you I can only play the trombone? Badly. You're supposed to be teaching me, by the way. That's why I invited you.
Now, me and my friends would say, you couldn't make that up. You could not make that up. Henry Clooney from Stiff Little Fingers. And me in Paisley. So there's a backstory here. About 4 months back, over 40 years actually, way back to the late 1970s. Now, the late 1970s, I'm just hitting my teenage years, you know, you're taking in so much. You know, I was probably still harbouring dreams of being a football player, but then music just became the biggest thing in my life. And people in your class, your mates would come in school in the morning and say, did you hear John Peel last night? You know, like, if you watch my channel, I'm a heavy metal guy, you know. I'm a heavy metal and rock guy, so I would say my area of expertise, if that's perhaps the right terminology to use, my area of expertise and the thing I love the most is rock and metal. But in the late 70s, you could feel there was something happening, there was something fresh and vibrant. You still had classic rock bands, you know, you still had Sabbath, and your Deep Purple was split, but you still had people still listening to Deep Purple, Zeppelin, AC/DC putting out If You Want Blood, the live album. A lot of it recorded in Scotland, by the way, in 1978, so there was still loads of classic rock, but you could feel a groundswell of stuff, even up in Scotland, you know. And I was still in the BBs and the Boys Brigade at that point in time, and I remember going to a skating day, ice skating day in Kirkcaldy, probably about 1978, 79, and this thing we played over the tannoy, and we were like, what's that? And it was Into the Valley by the Skids, John Peel. So I've still got, it's in Seen Better Days, but Stiff Little Fingers, the Peel sessions from 1978. Barbed Wire Love has always been my favourite Stiff Little Fingers song. I mean, everybody talks about Alternative Ulster, which is brilliant, but Barbed Wire Love was always my favourite. So yeah, so that's like late 70s and then 1980. So 1980, I'm getting more into metal. 1980 live albums, let's talk about Whitesnake, Live in the Heart of the City. I still love this record. I love Whitesnake. But at the same time, Hanks, I love this as much as I love the Whitesnake live album, both released in 1980. So yeah, it was just an incredibly exciting time taking all this stuff in, just the influences of everything you were listening to. I mean, that's why I do this Punk Rock Sunday thing, because you know I'm a metal and rock guy, rock and metal guy, but you still love that era of punk rock and stuff. So you're taking all this in, and I guess as you're getting older, you kind of specialise, or you you go down one sort of alleyway, as it were. But my alleyway was rock and metal. You know, I got into rock and metal big time, still am. But there is always that element of takes me back to being 13, 14, and hearing SLF and stuff like that, hearing the Skids, even the Jam. know, like this thing, you're 13 years old and you think, man, who's making that raucous noise on the radio? Or at an ice rink in Kirkcaldy, I think it was. So yes, that's the backstory going back about 40 years. So anyway, did you finish talking yet? So 3 or 4 months back, on part of my punk rock Sunday series, I did a couple of Stiff Little Finger songs, and I get a comment that says, "That's exactly how we played that song, Dunsey." And I thought, that can't be Henry Clooney from Stiff Little Fingers. But sure enough, it was. So Henry's now in a band called X-SLF, featuring a lot of the original songs from the first 3 albums, Stiff Little Fingers albums. And he says, the next time we're in Scotland, do you want to jump up and play a couple of tunes? And I thought, do I? Indeed I do. Indeed I do. So about 2 weeks ago, I phoned Henry. I said to my wife, I'm just about to phone Henry Clooney from Stiff Little Fingers. And she's like, what? Long story. So last Saturday, X-SLF are playing the Bungalow in Paisley, which is on the south side of Glasgow. So my wife comes through with me. This is a big moment. So my wife comes through with me. We have to get a train to Glasgow and then like a walk and then get another train to Paisley. So it's a bit of a trek. So we're sitting inside the bungalow, having a can of beer each, my wife and I. Take the edge off. I was a bit nervous, if I'm being honest. And the band arrive, shaking hands. Oh, hi Henry, how's it going? Incredible, honestly. So I don't want to make this like a fawning video. I'm not here to embarrass Henry. In fact, I'll be sending him a copy of this before it goes live just to make sure it's okay. But it was just an incredible moment. Just sitting down and just having a beer, because at the end of the day, we're all music fans, we're guitar players, playing bands, and we love music. You know, that's what it's all about. We're sitting speaking about like Montrose, the sensational Alex Harvey band and stuff like that. It was just meeting another guitar player who has the same engagement and love of music as I have, and it was a good crowd as well. Sport band Fire Exit were brilliant as well. So it was a busy night, and X-SLF go on stage, and I'm sitting tuning my guitar, getting a bit more nervous by this point. So it gets to about halfway in the set, Henry says, we'll put these 2 songs, because I was only doing 2 songs. I mean, I wasn't jumping up to do an entire set, I was only doing 2 songs. So I jump up to do my bit, and it was just like, oh man, run on stage like a kid. Oh, here we go. On the stage, and Henry didn't even play guitar. I mean, can you imagine that? You're going to see a band and the guitarist says, do you want to play a couple of songs? Now, I've done this a few times, but you assume that the guitar player will still be playing guitar. But he'd said, no, just plug into my stuff. There's only one guitar. I'll just sing. So it was just me on my lonesome playing the guitar, Henry singing. And we did At the Edge. Two of my favourite Stiff Little Fingers songs are At the Edge and, as I said earlier in the video, Bad While Love. So we do At the Edge, and then they always do for Bad While Love, like the middle bit, which is kind of Beach Boysy Basically Rollers, where they do the backing vocals. Henry always gets people up on stage. So that kind of took the edge off a bit of me doing that, because there was other people on stage who maybe could sing as well as I could play guitar. So that kind of took the edge off. And we did do 2 songs in the middle of the set, and it was just brilliant. It really was. I've said brilliant and incredible about 100 times in this video, but it was. Come off, have another beer with my wife just to decompress. I mean, it's not like the video I posted last week of my worst ever gig. You know, this is one of my best ever gigs. It wasn't my greatest performance, but excitement wise, it was one of the best things I've ever done. And here I am, you know, I'm 57 soon. I've been doing this for, you know, over 40 years. And the excitement of doing that last Saturday is probably the same excitement I ever had doing the first gig I've ever done. So my wife managed to capture some of the gig on her phone, so it's not the greatest quality. And when I came on and I hit a chord, I'm sure my guitar went out of tune immediately. They play in E flat, so I tuned my guitar to E flat, but I'm sure my Les Paul wasn't liking it, so I think I hit a chord and I think it went slightly out of tune. But again, like last week's video, nobody got up and punched me. You know, people were just saying, that was absolutely brilliant, I can't believe you just got up and did a couple of Stiff Little Finger songs. So that's today's video. There'll be a little clip after this that my wife took of me playing a couple of songs with X-SLF at the Bungalow in Paisley last Saturday. Huge thank you to Henry and the X-SLF gents for allowing me to do it. It was a treat, it really was a treat, folks. As ever, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing you content on Dunsey's Guitar World. Cheers for now.
Going to be the highlight of the weekend because these guys have all just come down from the Glasgow Glee Club, so they were practicing this all afternoon, and this part is like the real. This is where they show off their sheer vocal talent. Dunsey starts this part, so hold on, yeah, we're going to tune the guitar while we're at it, so we don't want to. What we want to do. We don't want to spoil their voices because it's really worth seeing. Sorry, hearing. And the middle, you as well. This part is going to be worth hearing. You right? I mean, that was like worth waiting for. This bit's even better. got better that, I think.